management?
Thank you very much. In terms of management, of course, me, I'm on the executive side, where I head the team as a president of the club, but we have first vice president, who is a mayor of Hoima City, Brian Kaboyo, and other vice presidents for the various departments, communication, finance, and the others. But in terms of the real operations, we have, of course, the CEO, who has been in football for a very long time, Joshua Tugonza, who heads that management, where we have a fully fledged office in Hoima. And in that office, of course, the coach sits there. And then we have accountants, we have auditors who sit there to strengthen that bit of full management of the club. Of course, management, you need also to, and the apex is the governance, and that's where I head. So decisions are made as a result of quick discussions, really. We don't have too much discussions on when we are making decisions, like if a player is going to be signed. It is simply looking at the quality of the player, the coach, and a quick discussion with the player, and the player comes on board. That's why we don't find really problems. And when the player comes on board, all the sign-on fees and the others are paid immediately. In terms of finances, right now the club has almost 600 million, which is merit money, which everybody is able to know that this is the money that's available. Because
you start the season with 600 million.
We start with the season with anticipation of 600 million, which should be obvious, that one, because the gate collections right now is 210, and so we are left here, and we are left with 5 games. And in those games, we have 2 big games. 3 of them, we have Bull Vipers and the Mbarara City, which is a derby. So we expect those at least 3 games raise over 80 million. So we expect to have 300 million as money from gate collections. And that is when we are playing over 55 kilometers from Hoima, because Masindi is 55 kilometers from Hoima. So that is 300 million. Of course, StarTimes gives us 95 million. We have a sponsor from Oil who gives us 100 million. Kenyar also gives us 30. Then we have also a side arrangement with StarTimes giving us extra 24 million. As Kitara Football Club for branding the bus and the billboards. If you add the money, you find that you have merit money of over 600 million. And I think there are some clubs that are below 5th position who may be running less that budget.
Those ones are men.
So you see that in terms of finances, some money. So when we looked at the money that we have as a club and the very many fans want to shout when a game is being played.
Yes.
They want to celebrate, and Brian Senyondo plays interesting football. This football passing and the other. So interesting football was one of them. And of the coaches that were looking, because we interviewed around 5 coaches, and the majority of the coaches, of course, were mature coaches. So what we are majorly looking at from the coach is the targets of the coach, and then the style of play. Because, as you realize, when we are leading the game, that comes in several times where they are playing very interesting football and the others, but of course we're always on pressure to first score goals. But that was one of the best things that we looked at, the interesting football. Then another thing, the targets, because Coach Simba coached us in the big league and we qualified, and then we sat down with him and asked him what his target was in the StarTimes Uganda Premier League. He said he wanted the trophy automatically. For him, he can't just play for being retained. So I asked him the budget which he needs. Of course, he presented the budget, but as executives, we saw that a team which is just coming in the league, it may not be good for us really to spend that kind of money. And the other coaches as well, most of them, it was because of the target. So when Brian came in, we told him that we want to top 5 now with this squad that we have, but also we want sustainability. So it means we are giving you 2 years. This year is going to be for top 5. The second year is going to be for sustainability. And sustainability means we are going to bring in, you will see, we are going to bring in a number of young players to come in to sustain the project. Some few of the aged players will be released here and there, but we shall bring in young players. So majorly why we brought him on board was interesting football, and then his targets fitting in our targets in terms of finances even as well. Then as well in terms of how he also feels about the project. You know, he's a person who likes developing projects, like how he wanted Synergy to move. But along the way, I think the finances were not enough. But this club is stable now that he knows there is something for them.
You're giving Brian where he is right now.
But
No, because he emerged the best.
Clive, in relation to what the club president has said, it is always very difficult to find the coach or the technical team being on the same page with with the
They're always at loggerheads.
yes, with the administration. And yesterday I had the chance to speak with Ban Sanyu at Katikati when they are given the best coach of the month, and of course his player striker Dennis Omedi named the Sanyu UPL best player of the month of February. And when I asked him about his ambitions on what he will regard as the best season, at the end of the day, he told me that he wants to be in the top 5. Amidst all the pressure from the fans and everything, everyone would say that he won the title.
He actually also told me that, and I immediately rubbished his you can't be on top of the table.
Yes, and
you're telling us you want
yes,
to be
and
in
it's
the
very
I reminded him
yes,
of Claudio Ranieri at Leicester.
yes, and you just have to love the way these guys are trying to water down all the pressure that is building around the club about winning the league on their first attempt to return to the Ghana Premier League. But maybe the other.
If you look at the signings that we made, we signed almost all the Banyoro players who are in the Kampala teams, who are in Buganda teams, who are the best. All of them returned back to Kitara. If you look at Kabon, if you look at Chris, if you look at Zaga, if you look at Muchurez is in the other side of the west, but also is from the west, I can say. You look at Ahewa, so all of them returned. All the top Banyoro returned. Then at the same time, we added some other good players who I believe there was competition for people to have them here. KCC, Paz and the others. Omedi was a top scorer and all-time top scorer of the big league. We also had to sign him, Jude and the others. So the signings were really deliberate. So as management, when we looked at those signings and then having our coach, the young coach who came, we agreed that we target the top 5, not just remain in the league. The issue of remaining in the league maybe may come later on if we change strategy, but as of now, we want to finish in top 5, and the fans, for them actually, they want the trophy. They're saying we can go with the trophy, but as management, you know, when you set targets, not good to keep shifting the targets that you've set. You can only just exceed the targets that you have set, or perform better than the target that you have set. So it was deliberate, and we did everything possible really to see that we finish in top 5. First of all, if you look at the motivations of the players, if you look at what we are doing as a club in terms of structuring, organization, management and the others, if you look at the transparencies and the others, all that has helped us to bring in money to the club, and then help us to be where we are right now. Now, the biggest issue that we have right now is sustainability of what is going on. We want actually to even do better, but we are putting in place sustainability programs to ensure that the club remains here, but also performs better actually. We want to create a team where everyone is scared that when we are going to play Kitara, it is automatic win. We don't want to have teams where people are going to debate. They may get some point from Kitara. We want to create a team where everybody knows if you're going to face Kitara at their home, even away, we should be able to lose the game. That's what we want to create. But more importantly, sustaining this team. There are various things that we are doing. We want to ensure that the team remains. And a major among that, of course, is the stadium which we are putting in place.
Yes, before Brian comes in, you've talked about 3 or 4 things in there. You've constantly talked about management. I want you to expound more on that to probably give us a skeleton of the digital management. You've talked about finances. It is a big issue in Uganda.
It's a big issue.
That's where clubs should copy, because they should, like the president always preach.
So what president is saying?
Now
we should stop hosting club officials here for free.
No, you can host them for marketing.
Not in that line, but
see the studio then I will
but Clive, we are running out of time. Let me finish up my questions. Yes, for starters, I remember you guys were hosting in Chigaya. Was it in Big Leach? Yes. And then you moved to Masindi, because I think it was about the club licensing and everything. What challenges have you faced? And I saw, was it on Facebook or Twitter, when the club is having plans of building their own stadium, I saw people soliciting funds and contributing. So what like how is that project progressing? The club is plans of having their own stadium, and then also there is that habit you guys are having, and many clubs have coped, including I think Nick, when after the match, a home match, you reveal the gate correction. Like what's the orientation of that, and then what things, because you guys are a community club, and of course FIFA President Ndamos will always preach about clubs standing into going back into their community and everything. What benefits maybe have you got from having such a huge number of fans, and and what plans do you have to make your project that sustainable?
Thank you very much, Brian. Quickly, why we announced money we collected is to increase confidence in the fans, because for it to be a community club, the fans must contribute financially, even psychologically, but financially is very important. Even the drive that we have now is for the fans to subscribe in different categories. We have the executives who are going to be paying 6 million per year. We have level 1. People are going to be paying 650 per year, and then we have a second level. People are going to be paying 150.
This one is going to start, or it's already?
It's going to start. It's just going to start. So,
like in form of season tickets?
In form of season tickets, but we are calling it membership or ownership, because once a club gets profit, you will be able to also benefit. Depending on your contribution, and all these people who will pay will have cards. They will be watching games free. Of course, the executives will even have a gown. Yeah, all the 3 levels, except the last level. Plus the second level, they will be watching, not from VIP.
Because I'm saying the executive members, you're targeting 65.
65 members. Yeah.
Then level 1 members, you're targeting 600.
Yeah.
And then level 2 members, you're targeting 3,000.
3,000. So in total, we want to raise 1 billion from that campaign, which we are going to launch, of course, later on. We are going to launch it before the league ends, and even if we raised only 300 million, it would be enough of sustainability. In terms of the stadium, the club bought land, and that is part of the things that will make it sustainable. We bought land, and the construction right now, the playing surface is 85%. I think in the next 1 or 2 months, FIFA will be coming to look at it, to inspect the playing surface. The chain is already there. We are going to now, after the 3 games which I've told you, the big games that we expect to have, all the money that will be collected there is going to be looking at putting up the dressing rooms and the perimeter fence, and that will help us to have that revenue. Why the challenges that we have when we are playing in Masindi, of course, will be now reduced by the stadium. For it is 10 kilometers from the city. In fact, people wanted the stadium to be a bit far because of the celebrations and the others. And you see how the language the people use when they are watching games, they don't want to be with their in-laws and the others. So they will be moving only 10 kilometers like Kigaya to go and watch those games. So we are facing a challenge that to move to Masindi is 55 kilometers, which is almost 1 hour, and it requires over 10,000 for people to move, or 15,000. So in spite of that, fans have been moving to Masindi to come and watch these games.
So they love the outing.
So they love the outing, but this one is a bit expensive now, because the other 10 kilometers, a border would charge 2,000, 3,000, and then you move to watch the game. So next season we expect that the revenue may even double actually, because majority of the fans actually in Hoima will come to Masindi. Masindi people watch, but the majority are from Hoima. So we believe with that and the other subscription, the club will automatically be sustainable, and it will live the test of time. And we just need to just improve and then be able to win a lot in Uganda. Perhaps next season we may not be in the issues of top 5. We may immediately declare that we won the trophy.
We may even choose to host CAF Champions League there in case.
Yeah, because they are constructing a stadium in Hoima, but it will not be ready next season, of course. But if people are also, by that, that's an added advantage, because the stadium which is going to be in Hoima, if Kitara now starts winning trophies, it means that the one for African Cup, it means that we shall be hosting our games in Hoima, the Champions League.
I want to declare that this show is incomplete. We should have a part 2.
Yes, and
because with all the nice things.
Yeah, we can even have a paid part 2.
Yes,
no, Brad, we've run out of time.
1 minute.
We've run out, Brad, we've run out of time. And there should be a part 2 on this show, because with all the nice things that Deo here said, I'm also reliably informed that he is a man who does not love to overstay in power.
Yes, and
So
that's
I'm wondering when he moves on, who is going to make sure that actually this continues?
Yeah, I'm left with 1.5 years. 1.5 years, and we have other 2 people already that are learning now. Who
That
are
share
going
the
to take
same
over.
vision with
Who are going to take over, but we have to, so they have to compete.
In case
we are
the
trying
fans
to screen
plead
them.
to stay.
If the fans plead, I ask them if they plead for me to say, because the constitution is very clear that you can have 3 years, which can.
And you've done how many times?
I'm going to make 3 years after next season. I've done 1.5. I did the whole of big league, now half league now. So if I told them if I'm to stay, if they say that I have to stay, they have to first raise money. For the campaign that we have to make the 900 million.
To make your work easier.
Yeah, once they make 900 million, and they ask me to stay, I'll remain and then be able to superintend the club for more, maybe 1 term. Yes. Because ultimately also I need private.
So you want me to stay? Let's work as a team.
Let's work as a team. Because community club, the community must support. And the biggest is the finances really. So if they do that, I can still remain more 3 years. Then the other 2 people who are supposed to take over, we debate with them and see.
Well, unfortunately, that's all the time we had for you today on the show. But yes, I'm going to insist on having a part 2, a continuation of this show, because I feel there's a lot that we need to discover that Kitara is doing that is also beneficial to other football clubs in Uganda, but also other sports institutions in Uganda that have actually been here longer than Kitara Football Club. But Mr. Kasozi, thank you for your time for today.
Thank you very much, Clive and Brian, for hosting me, and then the entire management for Sanyu FM, and I want to thank also the federation, for the enabling environment for us really to run as a team. And I want to thank all the fans for supporting the club, and I want you to support the club now financially. Own your card, and we continue as a community club so that we'll be able to displace all these Kampala people.
There's money, of course. I will be back in 7 days' time, but make a date with me, 7:30 in the morning, 4:30 in the afternoon, and at 8 p.m. in Uganda. Have a blessed weekend. It's time for the news, and thereafter we shall be having